everybody to HeadKick Audio, episode number 34. This is HeadKick Audio. We used to have a co-host here, but now it's just me, solo. I'm Steve, your host. In the intro, you heard By the Gods, theme they created for us. You're viewing this courtesy of, Imbued Photography. So check those guys out on their handles, wherever we're putting them. I'm not really 100% sure, but yeah, go check them out. And we, or I should say, I am HeadKick Audio, now running solo. You can follow me on Twitter at HeadKick Audio, Instagram at HKA_AZ, Facebook at HeadKick Audio, and go to patreon.com/HeadKick Audio. Find all our shit there. We got a fun one for you. We got CFFC 80, Rhodes versus Wali. You got LFA 79, Royval versus Williams. There's a flyweight title on the line and a light heavyweight title on the line for CFFC. You had ROC, Ring of Combat, Pyfer versus Pati, middleweight championship there. And then of course you had Bellator London. That was MVP versus Melilo. I think I'm pronouncing that right. And we're going to have fun with that shit. So let's go ahead and get right into it. We're going to go ahead and go to Bellator. Main card here. Very strange. Of course, Bellator just doing Bellator. You know, they did that thing where they they made it impossible for you to watch it, and then when you did watch it, it's like, wait a minute, there's like 100 prelims and only 3 fights on the main card? What are you really doing, Bellator? What are you really doing? And it seems like this card was literally just built around MVP. Fabian Edwards, kind of another flashy striker in there, so it was supposed to be fun. It was okay. To open up your main card, you had Soren Bach defeat Terry Brazier via unanimous decision. Mike Shipman actually took Edwards to a split decision. And then, of course, MVP, Michael Venom Page, did that thing where he just knocks a dude senseless. And, you know, the guy's not a world beater, but the guy was 13-4, now 13-5. So, at least in terms of records, like, they're getting better for MVP, but, you know, the last episode, I think we were talking about how Aaron Pico gets thrown to the wolves, and I remembered who I was trying to remember, Henry Corrales. Why does Aaron Pico got to fight guys like Henry Corrales, who are contenders on streaks, and MVP gets to fight, I mean, albeit short notice, but, you know, I don't even remember the name of his original opponent. Anderson, I believe. So, I'm a fucking liar already. Getting started early in episode 34 with the lion. Anyway, so, yeah, impossible to fucking watch. The finish for MVP was actually pretty cool. As they usually are. They're usually pretty visually appealing. But it's just, you know, the fucking... Who is that guy? Who the fuck is that guy? As everybody would say. Yeah, sure. All right. And then moving on, of course, LFA, they're now on UFC Fight Pass. And this was their final card of 2019. Looking back, they had, I think, 24 shows, I think, if I'm not mistaken. That's basically at least 2 shows a month for an organization that's not the UFC, which is pretty freaking spectacular. I dig that shit. And, you know, they let us come to their Arizona event when we were in us. Now we're just me. That's for you, white belt. It's for you. He's not dead. He's just no longer with the show. But, yeah, LFA keeping busy, and I'm really looking forward to see what they do in 2020 with UFC Fight Pass as a broadcast partner, not, you know, just the last 2 shows of the year. So, as you all probably know by now, LFA was on Access TV before they got, I think they were bought out by Anthem, and it was a whole fucking thing, and we just won't even get into it. So LFA is now on UFC Fight Pass, and LFA 78 was badass, LFA 79 equally badass. So it doesn't seem like the broadcast partner really has affected how well LFA is going to do. Their matchmaking usually pretty good, and the fights usually come out pretty entertaining. So let's just go ahead and get right into it. So we interviewed, or I should say I interviewed 2 of the fighters on this card. I tried to get a couple more, but you know, with things getting into fight week and there's travels and weight cuts and stuff, you know, we try not to, you know, overdo it for these guys. So we were able to get 2, and both guys we've got secured victories, so we're very happy for them. Usually we do pretty well. So Justin Wetzel, he defeated Michael Aquila via knockout in 27 seconds. You didn't really get to see a lot of Justin's game, which I was actually looking forward to, and I think a ball was dropped, because if you watch the interview that I did with Wetzel, you would actually like get to hear some of the call-outs that he had ready. He had call-outs ready, and he had like 3 different tiers on which way he wanted to go. So I was actually pretty bummed out that he didn't get to get on the mic and, you know, kind of call his shot to bring in the new year. But nonetheless, a 27-second knockout, that's pretty fucking cool. So congratulations, Wetzel, there. Eric Grant defeated Wydurko via unanimous decision. Carlos Mota defeated George Martinez. Now this was a flyweight scrap that I was actually looking forward to. I thought it was going to be bang, bang, bang. Yeah, these are the flyweights. I thought these guys were going to be, like, it was going to be fireworks, like the 4th of July. Nope, you got one firecracker and it blew the whole fucking thing up. Mota kicks him in the body early, and he just crumbled, man. He really couldn't hang. I wasn't sure. I thought it was a nut shot when I was first watching the fight, and it turns out, no, it was a legal body kick. And there you go. That's all she wrote. So, I mean, you had an extra flyweight fight on this card just in case, which I like when promotions do that. Like, hey, we have a flyweight title on. Let's have another fucking flyweight fight on this card for last-minute bullshit if somebody falls out. So let's just say, I believe Nate Williams was the 3rd opponent for Royval coming into this card. And, you know, one of these guys could have potentially been the 4th. So I really like that LFA had, you know, the sense or forethought to kind of put something like that into action. So, and man, I mean, this guy, first kick he throws, he knocks the dude out with the body shot. So he literally could have, even in a pinch, taken the title fight. Let's just say Williams is in the back and he slips and, you know, hurts his head. Well, there you go. Mota's going to be able to jump in there, no problem. So I don't think that was the intent there with the body kick, but definitely, there you go. There it is. I love it when there's finishes in flyweight fights, because everybody says, oh, flyweights are boring, flyweights can't finish. Well, in both flyweight fights tonight, you got first-round finishes, and I believe they're both sub-minute finishes. So if anything, they're faster than the heavier guys, okay? So flyweight's probably one of my favorite divisions to look out for. That's why you see me hashtag that shit all the time, and I will continue to do so until they get the respect they deserve. Moving on, Yusuf Zalal defeated Hernandez via flying knee. Whoop-beak! You can't see it, but I did a flying knee. Whoop-beak! There, my knee's going up underneath the table. You can't see it, but that's what's really happening. So Yusuf Zalal, pretty entertaining cat, and gets it done in spectacular fashion with the flying knee. I believe this was a featherweight contest. I don't have the weights in front of me, but I think it was a featherweight contest. And like I was telling everybody before, this is the last card of the year. This is going to take you into 2020. Why not have a highlight reel? And it seems like everybody on the card was fighting that way, minus the decision that we had, the couple decisions that we had. Not that they were boring per se, but I feel that both fights that went to decision, there probably could have been a little bit more. Like you just take it from 10 to 11, and you probably get the finish. But nonetheless, great card overall. Zalal flying knee. Oh, bink! I'm gonna put some binks in here. It's gonna be fucking cool. Yeah, that was another first round finish. 2 minutes and 15 seconds. Zviad, I'm guessing here, Lavishvili defeated Huber via unanimous decision. This was a grapple-heavy affair. Both guys actually really good on the ground. Lavishvili coming in undefeated, and Huber coming in, I wouldn't, not like undefeated, just very, he had a lot of fights. Okay, listen, I don't know how many fights, but he was the veteran out there, and he couldn't get it done. Lavishvili, a little bit too much on the ground. The rounds were close, but, I mean, Anyway, we want to hear about this fucking main event, because this one right here is, I was super stoked on this one. I've been a big fan of Royval, even early on in his career. I mean, the guy has fought the who's who. All the guys that he's fought have been very tough. He's got World Series of Fighting, LFA fights on his record. This is his second attempt to getting the flyweight title. The last guy he fought in a title fight is now in the UFC. So Royval gets a chance at redemption, a chance at the LFA title, and boy, did he deserve it. 23 seconds into the first round, he secures an armbar. There you go, that's it. And history, baby. Boom, no one's done that. So Royval gets that flyweight title, okay? And chances are he gets a call up to the UFC. He was put into a pretty bad position. Nate Williams was going directly for the takedown off of a shot. Royval tries to kick him in the middle of that transition, and a scramble, armbar, and that's all she wrote. So Royval, another one of the guys that I got in to interview before the fight. And if you go to our YouTube, you can check out all our pre and post fight interviews. Okay, usually they're in episodes. If not, check them out. I got tabs for LFA. I got tabs for Bellator. I got tabs for PFL, UFC. I got Rough. I got tabs for every fucking promotion that I'm out here pushing. So go check these fighters' interviews out, man. Just go check them out. Royval, Wetzel from LFA 79. They both got it done. Both were really fun interviews. So go check that shit out on our YouTube. And just go to YouTube and type in HeadKick Audio. And we're right there. We're right there. Okay. So let's see. What do we have next? Oh, that's right. We had CFFC, Cage Fury Fighting Championships. This is their 80th card, and this was for the troops. This was actually really cool because, well, first of all, I love it when they do the fight for the troops things because, most of these guys, they can't go to live events because, they're out doing the troop thing, right? So I can do stupid shit like this and stupid shit like that. Oops. That was my bad. Anyway, CFFC 80. I really enjoyed this broadcast team. Although I will say at the main event, I wasn't upset about it, but I feel that probably other people would be. And we'll get to that when we get to that. But Christian Leonard defeated DeJuan Owens. Now Christian, let's just start off with, he came in heavy. Okay, well, Owens paid him back with what looks to be an illegal knee. Okay, and then Christian says, hey, I'm done with this shit, and in the third round gets a knockout. So, I'm not really sure what he improves his record to, but I'm pretty sure now it's a little bit better. It wasn't too pretty before. Jillian DeCourcy defeated Katie Perez via third round TKO. Got a couple late stoppages to open up this card, and both fights were very back and forth. You had one fighter that was obviously above and what's the word I'm trying to look for? Better. They were just better on the ground than the other, and the other ones in Perez, who looked very green. I believe she was making her debut. She was just coming out and trying to light up DeCourcy, light her up, and she's got skills on the ground, but I just think that DeCourcy's got a little bit more. She was a little bit more experienced, a little bit older, a little bit more durable. DeCourcy ends up getting it done on the ground. The fight after that, you had a heavyweight fight, and this was one of those fights that I was really looking forward to. Keith Bell versus Chandler Cole over in the first round at 2 minutes and 10 seconds. Now, both these guys are pretty big. Obviously, they're heavyweights, so they're not, the smaller athletic heavyweights. They're just big, big masses of men. And there was a little bit of controversy, at least from my perspective, because it looked like some of those shots were to the back of the head, and it looked like the ref may have been taking his time to get to the stoppage. I'm not really 100% sure. He's got a better line of sight than I do. He's right on the action. I'm watching from my couch. So a lot of times I'm going to lean with, the ref, but sometimes you see something that's like, well, hey, what the fuck, man? That shouldn't happen. Okay, they're here for the safety of the fighters, which will actually lead me to the next fight on the card. But Keith Bell getting it done here in the first round, ending his 2019 on top with the first round knockout. Tafan Nchukwi defeated William the Nightmare Knight. Now, I was really looking forward to seeing the Nightmare come out and do his thing. Unfortunately, he was just a little bit too small, in my opinion. Tafan got the stoppage, and the way that it looked, it was very hard to discern what was really going on, because it looked as if Knight was okay, just not really reacting. But I don't know. Like I said, it's another one of those things where I got to err on the side of caution. I even told my wife while we were watching this fight together, she says, do you think that was an early stoppage? I said, from where I'm sitting, I'm going to err on the side of caution. He wasn't really moving. It's not like the shots were, anything like Keith was throwing. But at the same time, he's not moving. He's in a really awkward position. So he could either be out or just trying to work his way out. But again, err on the side of caution here. Look, Knight's very early in his career. He'll bounce back. If they said, hey, we're going to do an immediate rematch, I'm all for it. Because you know what? There's a little bit of controversy in there. And it's not like one guy was getting his ass clearly beat the entire fight. The fight goes on for 2 minutes and 30 seconds, and it was relatively back and forth. So, look, it's all good. It's all good. You still got time. Anyways, moving on. Now, this is the best fight on the card, and I'll tell you why. Okay, so Mike Rhodes defeated Najim Wali via KO in round 2. After losing the first round, Rhodes comes back. Okay, I felt he was losing he lost the first round, and then he comes back in 55 seconds and looks completely fucking different, and just ends it, literally just ends it. And this is where I was talking about how the broadcast there, that people may have saw issue with this. Now, on the broadcast team, you have CM Punk. CM Punk trains with Mike Biggie Rhodes. So while he's calling the fights, you can tell there's a little bit of bias there, because he's not really, he's not really talking about Wally a whole lot. He just keeps talking about how Biggie is a counter puncher, and he kind of needs Wally to come forward so he can play in his game. So I understand it must be hard to call a fight with one of your friends or your training partners or whatever. I understand. But then CM Punk, after Rhodes gets the KO, goes in and interviews the guy. Now, for one, I thought it was cool as hell. I'm not a big CM Punk fan, but if I got the chance to go interview one of my friends after they did some cool shit like that, sign me up, bruv, because I do that all day. So I don't have any issue with it whatsoever. So CFFC, heavy on the finishes. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, all 5 fights on the main card here ended before the final bell. And again, Mike Rhodes defeating Wali was a light heavyweight title. Now, Rhodes has fought as low as welterweight and as high as heavyweight, I believe. So him securing a light heavyweight title, which, you know what, he kind of doesn't really, he looks like an out-of-shape middleweight or an out-of-shape welterweight, really, if I'm being honest. So him at light heavyweight, he's definitely got some power. I'm really excited to see what he does next year. I'm really excited to see, because he has this way of fighting where he looks like he's not there, and then BAM! You know, at the drop of a hat, it's over, and he wins. So, yeah, sign me up for that shit. And then let's see, we had Ring of Combat 70, and if you'll notice, like, oh shit, my bad, they're all right there. I'm putting all of them right there. So this is the first time I'm pointing it out, because they all should be showing up right here. But, you know, hey. Ring of Combat 70. This was a lengthy card. Their main card was extremely long, but I didn't mind. It was one of those in between, like I was watching Glory and I was watching CFFC. So this kind of like gave me something to do in the interim. So you had 3 titles on the line. You had a super fight title, you had an interim featherweight title, and you had a middleweight title. So 3 title fights on this main card. You also had frequent guest of the podcast, Travis the Sauce. He dropped Diablo. Travis the Sauce Foster was also on this card. Unfortunately, he didn't get the W, but he also didn't get finished. So, and this was up a weight class. This was at 170. His last fight, I believe, was a catchweight, and the fights before that were at 155. So, look, it's all right. Heal up. We got next year to get going. But Mike Ahern defeated Obi via unanimous decision. A couple 30-26s and a 30-27. Thomas Powell defeated Chase Gamble via unanimous decision. A couple 30-27s and a 29-28. Anthony Newton defeated Charlie Campbell via unanimous decision, 29-28 across the board. You had Ryan Petrovich defeating Travis Foster, 30-27s across the board. Wrestle heavy affair. Unfortunately, Foster really couldn't get his striking going and was pretty much on his butt or back the entire fight. But he didn't give up. So, Foster, if you're watching this, man, like, let's just fucking get 2020 started off on a good note here. Excuse me. Jimmy Lawson defeated Justin Richwine via knockout in 22 seconds, and I believe Lawson trains over at AKA with, if I heard the broadcast correctly. Now, if I'm getting this all fucked up, you know, I'm not watching it right now, so I may be butchering it, but I believe he trains with DC over at AKA. So, a big, like, this guy is a heavyweight, but he looks like a freaking, he looks like a superhero. You know what I mean? He looks like a fucking superhero. Anyway, 22 seconds is all it took. Okay? Now, it looked like he kind of wanted to keep going. And the ref, like, kind of had to, like, stop the fight for sure. You know what I mean? So, Jimmy, like, look, dude, I get it. You're a freaking force, but maybe, like, when the ref is getting in there, be aware. Okay, so maybe he just wasn't aware. Maybe you got to have some awareness. He's still early in his career. I believe he's only like 2-0 or 3-0, something like that. So, anyway, exciting. I mean, I guess he was supposed to fight on Contender Series. And again, another one of those guys that's really young in his career. His future's bright. His future's bright. You want to talk about a bright future? Dennis Bazooka defeated William Calhoun III via spinning back elbow. Bam! There might be like a band right there, something like a pow. I don't know. We're gonna fucking do some cool shit. Yeah, dude. This was fucking cool. This was cool. A first round spinning back elbow. These guys are featherweights, and they weighed in at 143 pounds. Okay, so they're not even like really featherweights. I'm pretty sure that these guys could probably be bantamweights. Because why would you weigh in 3 pounds under the max? So, It was really cool to see. You just see him spin, bang, and whoo. Yeah, it was super cool. Super cool. So Bazooka, boom, yeah, with the spinning back elbow. That was cool shit. And then we're going to go ahead and get into your title fights. Now remember, I said there was 3 title fights. The first of 3 was your super fight title. Now, I'm not really 100% sure I get what this title is, but I'm not sure I really give a shit. I'm going to say this is kind of cool for like old veterans that like George Sullivan and Joe Riggs, who fought for this super fight title. It's kind of one of those things where, you know, hey, what else are you going to do? You're probably not going to get back to the UFC or a UFC title, but it's another piece of gold, and you're fighting a guy who's right along those lines as you. You know what I mean? Maybe you can still compete, but just not at the highest level, but you can compete with guys who have already been bounced out of there. I don't know. I don't know what this fucking title means, but I'm with it. I'm with it. So Diesel, as I was saying before, Joe Diesel Riggs defeated George Sullivan via ground and pound, round number 3. Look, it was a fun fight between 2 veterans. I'm not going to say it was, a high caliber fight, but for 2 guys that, like I said, have been bounced out of organizations in the past and have competed at the highest level, this was actually kind of cool to see 2 old dogs go for, what would you call it, like a veteran's belt. It's kind of like the BMF, just, not the BMF, but similar, if you catch my drift. And then your second of 3 title fights, Tim Dooling defeated Ryan Cafaro via submission in round 3 with the rear naked choke. And this fight was very back and forth. I wasn't really sure which way I was leaning. I thought maybe Cafaro could, do something on the feet, but then he started wrestling, and then he went for a throw, and he missed it. And right when he missed it is when Dooling jumped on him and just sunk it in. And it was deep, man. It was deep. So Dooling, who I believe just recently competed in a main event not too long ago against maybe Pyfer for CES, getting it done in another one of these bigger regional promotions. Now look, Ring of Combat has had studs, UFC champions. I mean, like, look at the kind of cards they're throwing on. 3 freaking title fights, are you kidding me? So ROC getting some cool shit done, including interim featherweight title here. I'm not really sure if Dooling is going to be able to stick around, and I think he originally, I think he's a bantamweight if I'm not mistaken. He took this fight on short notice, so that could be why, maybe that's why he's in there against a featherweight, but doesn't matter, he got it done. And then in your final Ring of Combat title fight, it was a middleweight affair. Joseph Pyfer was undefeated, 6-0, your reigning defending champion, right? Undefeated, cut-looking kid, pretty big for the weight class, taking on Jonathan Pati. Now, this guy's got Samoan roots. This guy's a character. And when I say a character, I mean he was smiling the whole time. He silenced the crowd. This guy is what I love in MMA. An underdog that just like, yep, yeah, I just finished that fight. You're welcome. Yeah, I like that guy. So Jonathan Pati, and hopefully we can get him on the show. I'm working on it, but hopefully we can get him on. He defeated Joe Pyfer via guillotine choke in round number 2. Now look, he was on his butt or back the entire first round. Oh, excuse me. This was another one of those fights where the guy was getting his butt kicked in the first round, and then he just comes back and boom! Like, where was that the first round? Now look, I understand that both these guys that they were fighting were very, very, big, strong dudes, okay? But it looked like both guys that won were veteran savvy enough to know they just didn't have to go super hard the first round. Now, Pyfer kind of blew his load in the first round, going for lots of takedowns, holding Pati down, and I guess he knew something we didn't, because he's, like I said, he's smiling. He gets taken down, and he's just, posting and smiling, laughing, and then I'm just like, you're in a title fight, man. What are you doing? And then in the fucking second round, comes out and he gets the guillotine choke, and Pyfer taps. When he releases, slapped him. He's sleeping. Night-night. Sweet dreams. He gone. So, Pati getting the win in the second round, acquiring that middleweight title, and making a huge fare right here. So, I'm super stoked, and again, hopefully we can get him on the show. I'm working on it. So, yeah, I guess that is it for episode number 34. Now look, I don't have a co-host. I don't have anybody I can bounce ideas off of, for right now. So the episodes are probably going to be short. But look, bear with me here. I'm trying to keep it entertaining. I'm trying to do, between losing the co-host and, some other shit that came up, and I had a death in the family. So, there was a lot of things going on this week that kind of made this difficult, but we still got it done, okay? We still got it done. Look, bear with me. The show will keep going, and I'll continue to do all these interviews that I do, and hopefully we can just grow the show into something better in the 2020. So I do know that next weekend we'll probably take off because Thanksgiving. I'm going to give my family the weekend, and then just know that the next month, when we get right back into it, we'll be doing the same thing for Christmas and New Year's. We won't be having any shows those weeks. So we're going to take the holidays off here at the end of 2019. I keep saying we because I'm so used to there being another fucker right here. Damn it. I'm going to be taking the holidays off. But look, catch us on social media. Twitter, @HeadKick Audio. Instagram, @HKA_AZ. Facebook, HeadKick Audio. Patreon, /HeadKick Audio. You can find us literally anywhere and everywhere. And support the dang show. I want to keep doing this. Hopefully we'll get somebody in the seat, but if not, I want to be able to continue doing this myself and provide you guys the best MMA podcast or show that I can. I'm just going to keep fucking grinding. So, until next time, I'm so used to him doing it. It didn't work.